Our next guest. Hear him on the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. It's our good friend, Stephen Orr. Hey, Stephen.
Chad, how are you this morning?
Doing well. How are you?
Wonderful. Getting ready for another big night of Friday night football.
Yeah, another. It's warm today, but we have I don't want to call it a cool front, but we have a front that's going to be moving through West Texas and the South Plains, which means we could have some storms in the second half, but could mean that temperatures go down as well.
Well, they're saying there could be some weather involved, and we'll see how that works out for us. But a good night for football and some really good matchups going on as well. Had a couple of pretty good games last night.
Yeah, that's what I heard. What did we have going on last night?
Well, last night you had the Monterey Plainsmen moving to 3-0 with a pretty convincing win over Canyon Randall. Monterey improves to 3-0. On the year. Randall falls to 0-2, and I'll tell you what, Canyon Randall really has had trouble so far this season putting points on the board, but Monterey's got to feel really good about where they are right now. Then you have Amarillo Caprock coming to town, and they defeat Lubbock Estacado 27-20, and that Caprock team now is 3-0, and Estacado, a couple of question marks there, but they're just not quite enough for Caprock, so. But two good games there played last night, and sets the table for some pretty good games tonight as well.
Well, what are we looking at as far as the Lubbock teams go, and then we'll move out from there. Man,
I tell you what, it's a great time to be a Lubbock high school football fan. I mean, any of the high schools in Lubbock, you've got a big game, big game, probably going to be the marquee game for us. Friendship hosting Lubbock Cooper, and Friendship's undefeated, Cooper's undefeated. Both have been in pretty good shape so far this year. And you've got, Cooper, their first game of the season, they were beating Amarillo High School when that game was postponed due to weather, and then they got a big win last week, and Friendship is very good. That's going to be a really good ball game. Friendship's going to be a little more control the clock, a little bit slower moving team, and Cooper really can move the ball quickly. I think that's going to be a great ball game. Then you've got Lubbock Coronado. They're looking to go 3-0 after a big win last week over Wichita Falls Rider in 54-47 style. I mean, lots of offense, and that's the one thing about a Coach Seth Parr team. They will put points on the board, and they needed every one of them last week. This week, they're taking on an Odessa High team that's 0-2 on the season, and I think a really good opportunity for the Mustangs to move to 3-0 as well. So you could have Monterey, Coronado, and then either Lubbock Cooper or Friendship. All three of those teams will be 3-0, or could be 3-0 after tonight, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Then you've got Lubbock High, got blown out their first week against Seminole, and that loss is not looking quite as bad as it did after what Seminole's done the last couple of did last week, and I think they're a lot better team than people may have thought. Then they play Andrews last week, which is a really good ball club, and they were in that ball game. They just didn't quite finish. So now they go up to Dumas to take on the Dumas Demons. Dumas is 2-0 on the year, so another tough test for the Westerners, but maybe not quite as tough as it has been the last couple of weeks. Then you drop down Shallow Water. We talked about it last week. It was 2007 was the last time they had started the season 0-2. Well, they did it again after getting a big loss last week to Levelland, and Levelland showed how prolific they can be on offense. Now the task doesn't get any easier for Shallow Water as they travel down to the Midland area to take on Midland Greenwood, and that's a team that's 2-0 and has a couple of quality wins in their back pocket as well. Then you've got Brownfield, a team that started 0-2, and Brownfield's problem is they can put points on the board, but so far their defense has struggled to keep the other team out of the end zone, and now they go take on the Muleshoe Mules, who have a high-scoring offense, and that could be a real shootout of a game. But Brownfield has got to find a way to do just a little bit on defense to stop the other team, because that's been their problem so far this year. Another game that I think is really interesting has Idalou hosting the Littlefield Wildcats in a battle of the Wildcats. This is always a good game on our board. Idalou starts their season off with a win over Shallow Water, and then last week they get beat 29-0 by Seminole. And that's what I mean.
A little bit of up and down there.
but that I think Seminole was a team that's really trying to rebound after a poor season last year, and they may be a whole lot better than we thought because that's a quality win that they picked up over Idalou.
Yeah.
So now Idalou tries to rebound against a 1-1 Littlefield team, and Littlefield is a very physical, run-the-football team, and that's always a really good game, and I expect that'll be the same. Lubbock Roosevelt takes on Lamesa, and they should have a good chance to put a win up there. Abernathy rebounded after an opening season loss last week. They won, and now they take on a Dimmitt team that's 2-0 on the year, and Dimmitt seems to be a pretty decent football team, and this could be a bit more of a challenge than we'd normally think when we look at Abernathy and Dimmitt. Come over to Floydada tonight, and you have the Floyd County Championship with Floydada taking on Lockney. I believe this is the 98th installment of that rivalry. It's one of the oldest continually played games in the state of Texas, and Floydada coming off loss last week to number 6 Seagraves, but they played for the first nearly 3.5 quarters of that game. Floydada was on top, and then Seagraves rallied late to come back and win that game 28-14. So Floydada, a good team. Lockney had a good game last week, and you know, time for cliches, but really and truly, you see it. These two teams, when they get together, a lot of times you can throw the records out the window because they're playing for county pride, and on top of that, it's Floydada's homecoming, so you know Lockney would love nothing more than show up and ruin homecoming too.
Sure.
So that'll be a really good game. And then another game that I think is pretty interesting has New Deal playing Slayton. Slayton's still trying to get some traction. New Deal has struggled a little bit on offense this year, which is not usually something we see from them, and so that should be a good ball game as well. Then you've got some others as well. Post hosting Coleman. Post has some injury issues, but they have been so powerful this year, and they came up last week and beat Tahoka all over the field, and I think that Post will pick up a win there.
Visiting with Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. So it sounds like Friendship and Cooper at Friendship. That's going to be the big ball game of the week, right?
Friendship and Cooper, and then the other one that catches my attention is that Idalou Littlefield game. I think those are the two that really have a lot of sparkle to them. But yeah, that Friendship Cooper game with everybody in town, that's really a budding cross-town rivalry.
It always seems like it's a pretty good game.
It is, and you know the atmosphere ought to be electric, and you've got two really good football teams on the field, and that's always a fun night. Yeah,
absolutely. Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Hope you have a good day of football, a good evening of football watching, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Well, we're just hoping we can keep Mother Nature off the field, and about midnight, if it wants to rain, that's fine.
You know, maybe a little bit of rain. Maybe, some light rain, but no lightning strikes. We don't need any long delays.
Absolutely. That makes the night up here really long.
Yes, it does. Hey, Stephen, thank you very much.
Hey,
appreciate
Chad,
it.
Thank you.
Of course, you can listen to the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show here on KFYO right after, about 10 o'clock or so, 10:15, all the way to midnight, and then same on our sister station, 1340 The Fan. And if you're driving around West Texas from 10 p.m. to midnight, you can catch the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. You can also listen to it via the Radio Pup app as well. So numerous ways to listen to the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show.